I have finally beat Erlang, and I have to tell you that yes, this fight is possible post-patch, and I can prove it to you with this guide on how you can finally defeat Erlang. If you look on YouTube, you're going to see a lot of cheese guides into beating Erlang, but these were all posted pre-patch, and I have to say, post-patch Erlang is nothing to mess with. He is way more aggressive, and basically none of those guides work anymore, but I came up with my own guide after over 12 hours and hundreds of attempts in what I'm going to be calling the "you just gotta lock in" guide. Going straight into it, a lot of people will recommend just going with the straight full Wukong set, but I actually don't agree with that. I do agree that you should use Wukong's staff, not only because of its high attack, but also for its armor set bonus. And for your vessel, the plantain fan is basically the most essential thing that you'll need to beating him. And a little bit controversial on this one as well, I actually recommend that you run the fungi woman, and you'll see why as I get to the gameplay. For the armor, I actually went with the split set, and by the time that you're reaching the Erlang fight and you complete the game up until the final boss, you should have enough to at least craft the Bull King's mask, and I would recommend equipping this over the Wukong helmet. For your chestplate, however, I do still recommend using the Wukong chestplate, as that does give you extra health. Now I'll pause right here because for your gauntlets, I recommend the Bull King bracers. Just by these two Bull King armor pieces alone, you can see that you now have the ability that upon taking damage, you temporarily grant moderate defense, making this fight a lot easier as you can tank a lot more hits. And to top it off, still go with the Wukong footwear, as along with the breastplate and the staff, this is going to grant you a nether ability. Now this really only just gives you a more critical hit chance, which isn't the most important, but it still gives you a high defense, extra health, extra stamina, and paired with the Bull King armor pieces, this is going to be a pretty decent armor set to get you through the fight. For my two items, I went with the back scratcher and the agate jar, just for more stamina and defense, because last thing I want is to run out of stamina and just get bodied. For my gourd, I personally went with the river goddess gourd just because it still holds 8 charges, but you're never going to really have to deal with burn damage in this fight, so you can use either this one or the normal gourd. It doesn't really matter. But what does matter is the soaks, and I went for the fruit of doubt and the purple veined peach kit just for more dodge invincibility and more health. As you can tell already, with this armor setup, my main goal for this fight is to just be able to tank as many hits as you can, because you will be making a lot of mistakes. But with this, you can afford to have a few mistakes here and there and still survive. As far as your sparks, my main thing was to not really spend any sparks in your staff stances, as that's not that important, but really just to level up your character with as much health, as much attack, and as much defense as you can, and then to put as much sparks as you can into your pluck of many and your hold spell. And for your spirit summoning, the golden lightning guy is crucial. Like, this is going to save you the most, and this will basically negate one of his phases. So you need to unlock him by doing some secret bosses, but it is 100% worth it. Getting into the fight, the best advice I can give you is honestly, you just gotta lock in. But I at least do have a few tips I can give you to make this as easy as it can be. As you approach him up the stairs, instantly lock onto him and use your normal staff stance and just run forward and hold a charge for 3 focus points and hit him right here to do some pretty massive damage to his shield. Whenever you approach him, he is always going to do this move to start the fight, so this is pretty easy to time. Erlang is going to have 3 phases, and my best advice for the first phase is just to lock in as much as you can. Try not to use any spells unless you absolutely have to, and absolutely save your fan and save your spirit summon. You'll really just want to chip away at him as much as you can. I personally prefer the pillar stance, as it can do a lot of damage for his shield, but generally you just want to break his shield in the first phase and then do enough damage to then take him onto phase 2. And when I say to use the fungi woman, it's because she is OP. You can see her attack can fly above him, negating his attacks, do a pretty decent amount of damage with him, and then follows up and shoots these things at him that also regenerates your health. I mean, this is just pretty goated. As he flies up into phase 2, my best advice for this first initial attack, which he will do 100% of the time of going into phase 2, is to just run forward. As it slams down, you should be far enough to where you can avoid the hit. It will also do a shockwave. Just easily jump over that and immediately use your fan. An important warning here, when you use his fan, don't attack him just yet. If you start attacking him while he's being hit by the fan, he'll go out of stun and start attacking you back. Versus if you just let the fan hit him, it's going to completely deplete his shield. And right before his shield breaks, call in your monkey squad, and then for phase 2, you basically want to work with them and just do as much damage as as you can as quickly as you can. Use up all your focus points. Don't be afraid to use your hold spell. You just want to get him out of this phase as soon as possible. That should get rid of phase 2 pretty easily. As he flies up in the air for phase 3, a lot of people like to use a cloud set, but personally I think it's a lot easier to just staff spin and deflect all of these bullets. He will slam down afterwards. I have a really hard time dodging this, but like I mentioned, this is a high defense build, so you can pretty easily tank this hit. For phase 3, the best advice I can give you is just to be patient, and once again, you just gotta lock in. One tip I do have is in phase 3 to save your focus points, because whenever he uses moves like this and he flies up into the sky, I like to personally use the pillar stance, and if you hit him as he's up in the air, it'll completely negate his attack. Now, after you've done a little bit of damage, your next goal is to just break his shield, and this is when you're gonna summon the lightning guy. As you can tell, I already forgot his name, but he's going to be very crucial into defeating phase 3. Now, whenever you transform into him, Erlang is always going to try and taunt you and then turn into this tiger. Very easily, as soon as he jumps up, just dodge this one attack, wait until he transforms back, and then basically the best way to do this is to not really worry about hitting the perfect dodges or anything with him. Just hit 3 light attacks and then hit a heavy attack. Spam this over and over, do a few dodges here and there, and you're going to see that his shield starts just getting eaten away. Once the shield breaks, you're just going to want to just do as much damage as you can as quickly as you can. But also, don't mess up like I do and just take unnecessary damage. You're going to have to break his shield twice in phase 3. So if you don't do the best this one, it's okay. You're going to have another chance. Just try and stay alive as long as you can and do as much damage as you can. He is really aggressive, but you just got to lock in and dodge a few hits here and there. But by this point in the fight, when you've done enough damage to him, you should have just one last plantain fan to hit. Once again, hit that one more time, let him get fully stunned, and then just do as much damage as you can, and it really almost is that easy to defeating Erlang. Now, I say easy, but you can definitely tell that I made a lot of mistakes. I had no more healing, and I was literally one hit away from dying. But my point is, even with taking a lot of damage and making a lot of mistakes, he can still be defeated using this guidance setup.